Thank you for joining us for Small Talks for Big Change, where we help simplify financial topics to help with your financial wellness. My name is Andrew Farrell. I am Patelco's financial well-being educator. And on today's episode of Small Talks for Big Change, we are going to be talking about something that gives me a tremendous amount of anxiety, and that is the idea of home ownership. So I am, a little context for myself, going to be 35 in 8 days. And I've never really given much thought to the idea of owning a home before. I've always been renting. I've always thought that was just kind of be what I did from here on out. And now that I'm kind of in a place in my life where my partner and I are settling down a little bit more and starting to look into home prices and toss around the idea of buying a home and doing some research, we are realizing, boy, oh boy, homes are expensive. So I have a lot of questions about just kind of the state of home ownership right now, the pathways to home ownership, how to make it more attainable, all that good stuff. So I have a guest that I have brought into the studio. We are joined today by Fred Williams. He is a home loan consultant with Patelco Credit Union. Fred has been with Patelco for, I believe, a little over 10 years, but outside of Patelco, he has over 30 years of experience and expertise in mortgage lending. And he's a regional home loan consultant with us, so he covers the markets like Concord and Walnut Creek and that kind of East Bay area right there. He is an expert in all things mortgage lending. Fred, welcome back to the podcast.
Thanks, Andrew. Great to be here.
Yeah, happy to have you. So if you can, I know we've had you here in the past. A couple years ago, you talked with Michelle a little bit about just kind of Patelco's angle on home ownership. But if you could just talk a little bit about your time with Patelco, as well as your overall history with mortgage lending, some of the things you've seen throughout your career, and just kind of share a little bit about yourself.
Okay, there's a lot there. I decided I would be honest. I've actually been in the business 40 years.
Ooh.
10 years at Patelco. I resent the fact that it makes me old, but it does. I've been in the business since 1985, and you've seen this progression of things, but at the same time, things remain the same.
Right.
You enunciated it so well. People want to own a home.
Yeah.
And the question really is how? You asked me about my experience here. What got me here were other people, relationships that I'd worked with previously. What makes Patelco unique is this family atmosphere, nonprofit. Honestly, I didn't understand what that meant.
Right.
It means that we're not trying to just do a transaction. Mm-hmm. We're really trying to facilitate, help people to attain home ownership. And I don't have a problem per se with at-profit businesses, but I've never seen the mortgage company so focused on the members, or who we call our clients. Mm-hmm. I think that's what makes us different. It's just customer concern, customer focus. You learn really quickly that it's the members' credit union. And frankly, I didn't understand that. Nothing scares people here more than if a member is upset. You just don't find that in most places where you go to work. So I appreciate the atmosphere. It goes with how I grew up. Be kind, be a good person. And it seems overly simplistic, but it works.
Yeah, I agree. I think Patelco has a very member-forward attitude. I remember when I was working at a branch especially, it was always like the bottom line was just do right by the member, which I think is something that really sets Patelco apart, especially when we frame it in the context of buying a home, because like we talked about earlier, homes are very expensive. I think the idea of going through the process of buying a home is very daunting and overwhelming, at least it is for me. So to have a financial institution there who really cares about doing right by the member is something that I personally value quite a bit. So I do want to first and foremost share some stats that I found on Zillow, because when I was preparing for this, I wanted to get an idea of what numbers are really looking like kind of across the board. So what I found was the median home price in California as of April 2026 is right around $755,000. Market projections for 2026, they said, were suggesting a potential record median price of over $900,000 for single-family homes. And then from there, I kind of wanted to go like piece by piece throughout the Bay Area. So I found that average home values in San Francisco, Oakland, Hayward is $1.15 million. Where I live in San Francisco, median price for a single-family home is $2.15 million. Fremont, that kind of south area, 1.54. And then it gets a little bit less expensive when you go out to like Concord, where you're doing your territory. Its median home price was $690,000. Fairfield, about $600,000. Sacramento, around $480,000. Compare that to the United States average. The home value is $360,000. So even the less expensive parts of the Bay Area are still significantly pricier than what the national average is for home values. I will share a quick little story. So I live in a very nice 2-bedroom apartment in the Inner Sunset area in San Francisco. I love our location. We're super close to the park. We've got a garage. We've got washer and dryer on site. It's great. The house next door to us, which is also a single family home, was listed for $2.3 million. We knew we couldn't afford it, but we just thought, like, what the heck? Let's just go do the open house and tour it. Big mistake, because I've not been able to stop thinking about that house and kind of the unattainability of it. And it wasn't even that great or lavish of a house. It was a nice, I think, 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom. It had some nice natural light. It was good. It was listed for $2.3 million. We toured it on a Sunday. By Tuesday, it had sold for $4.1, which is astronomical. I don't know anybody who has that kind of money to just drop on a house like that, which to me kind of begs the question. I know that people toss around the idea of like a mortgage bubble and it kind of inflating too much to where home prices become so exorbitant that people just can't afford them and stop buying houses. Is that something that you think actually holds any merit? And if you could also just talk a little bit about what's happening in the mortgage world right now as far as like home values appreciating and all that good stuff in plain language.
One word comes to mind: fear. We're afraid, and the stats can be overwhelming.
Sure.
And so I want to be aware of them, but then it's like politics. It's all local. It's the neighborhood. It's a journey that everybody goes through.
Yeah.
And you make all these assumptions. Everyone isn't paying cash. Every house isn't $4 million.
Right.
And when you say median, that means half of the homes are more, half or less. Mm-hmm. It's just where you start your journey. So I don't think there's a mortgage bubble. I am a 2008 survivor. You want to talk about the Wild Wild West?
I can imagine.
Okay, let me take you to, you asked.
Right.
The foreclosure rate, I looked it up, in California is 0.02% or 0.03%. During 2008, God help me, the foreclosure rate was 4.75, almost 5%. And then I think what happens is we do this big macro, what's going on in the world. The question is, what's going on with you?
Yeah.
The question is, how's your personal economy? The question is, how's your job? We get so carried away with where everything is, we forget to look about where we are.
Right.
Then it's, what's your dream? I have an amazing story from one of my best friends that I went to college with. He has a mobile home in Santa Cruz. He goes, I'd love to be on Pebble Beach. He goes, can't afford Pebble Beach.
Right.
He goes, but I can afford a mobile home 2 blocks away from the beach. I got just a little bit of what I'm looking for.
Of the dream, yeah.
And he flipping loves it. He surfs. So don't let people get in the way of your dream.
Right.
It's a journey that we all go on, and you got to start somewhere. No one starts at the $4 million property.
Sure.
They work to the $4 million property.
Yeah.
That's what everyone forgets. And then check out your own personal economy. Where are you? What do you need to do? And I've done this too long, and I've seen people who started in the 1-bedroom, 1-bath condo that now have $1 million home somewhere. Mm-hmm. So don't let that overwhelm you.
Yeah. I think that's good advice because it is very easy to get overwhelmed by the, large sticker prices you see and the headlines of, like you said, median homes and average homes. And you can, median means middle. You can very easily find something less expensive than what you're seeing in the big headlines. I also know that what I am talking about here in my experience is through the lens of someone who is living in a pretty pricey area of one of the most expensive cities in the country. So obviously we talked about the home prices. If you go outside of San Francisco, things are, much more reasonable, relatively speaking. It's still the Bay Area. It's still very expensive. But I think where we are right now, and I know this is maybe not the most relatable to all of our listeners, but I can only speak from my own personal experience. My partner and I, we have a rent-controlled 2-bedroom apartment in an area that we really, really enjoy living in. We have pretty much every necessity that we would want. We have washer and dryer. We have, a shared outdoor space. We only share it with 3 other units in our building. So the idea of becoming I guess for lack of a better term, forever renters is becoming more and more appealing to us, even though I know that owning a home is like a financial investment. I know that it gives you a lot of freedom that you do not get when you're renting. I just, at least where I am right now in my life, looking at these prices, feeling the overwhelm that we were talking about, it's hard to let go of this like really nice under market value rent controlled property that's in San Francisco. So currently, like I said, tossing around the idea of just renting forever. I'm kind of hoping you can just convince me why that's not a good idea. And maybe just talk about kind of the pros and cons of renting versus buying, when it might make sense to rent versus purchasing, sacrifices you might have to make, kind of share your perspective as a mortgage lender for that.
Really more as a person.
Yeah.
It depends on the time of your life that you're in.
Sure.
Here's what I've learned, a little secret, being my age, being a boomer. Nothing stays the same. So if you love where you are, what you just described is awesome.
Yeah.
You live in a great place, you enjoy it. Let me let you in on a little secret. That's going to change. Yeah. Your motivations and your goals change. And it's just being aware of the options that are available to you. Don't be overwhelmed by it. It's where you are now. My question to people is, are you happy?
Yeah.
I never want someone to buy a home and feel uncomfortable about the payment they make.
Yeah.
But as you go through your life, things change. Taking care of my 88-year-old mother, wanting to live in a different place. We grow.
Yeah. We
adjust. And one of the things I laugh about is clients go, I'm going to get a 30-year fix. I'm going to be here in 30 years. I'm like, no, you're not.
Right.
I get a call within 7 years. Hey, we've had 2 kids and we need to be in a school district. Your motivations change.
Sure.
Don't be afraid of it. Embrace it.
Yeah.
But if you're happy where you are, stay there.
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you a couple of things. You've already alluded to them. If you're not paying for your own mortgage, you're paying for someone else's mortgage.
That is very true.
So the key is to think about it, have a plan, sit down, have a conversation with the financial advisor possibly. But you get to adjust on your time. That's one of the most amazing things about living in America.
Right.
I was a political science, international relations major. I love history. I'm a Ken Burns freak.
Okay.
Being a citizen means you get to choose what you do, when you do, and that doesn't have to be the same thing all the time.
It's true.
So the secret is your motivations and goals are going to change, I promise you.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's a good point what you made, especially with the 30-year mortgage, because when I think about a 30-year mortgage, which, you know, when you're in the Bay Area and the home prices are what they are, that's usually the most realistic option. Like, I'm going to be 65 when that thing is paid off, and I don't know that the house that I would want to buy right now is the same house I'd want to live in when I'm 45, 50, 60, so on and so forth. And like you said, it's if you're not paying for your own mortgage, you are paying for someone else's mortgage. That's the thing that kind of gets me the most, is that I know that even though I really love where I'm living right now, the money that I'm paying in rent, I don't like the idea that I'm quote unquote throwing it away, because I do have, you know, the sink breaks. I can just call someone and they fix it. There's a lot of, I think, perks that come along with it, but it's not going towards any appreciating asset that's in my name. My aunt, for example, she bought her house or her townhouse in Pleasant Hill. Before Pleasant Hill became what it is right now, I think she bought it for like $150,000 or $200,000 maybe 20 years ago, and those condos are now going for $700,000 plus. You don't get that when you're renting, and that is kind of the biggest thing for me that is preventing me or giving me pause for wanting to rent for the rest of my life.
Okay, I'm going to mess with you a little more.
Please.
Bay Area, moderate, family of 4, $3,000 a month in rent. In 30 years, that's over $1 million.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it again. That's $1 million over
I didn't think about it like
years.
that, but yep.
We look in the moment. We don't look at the macro.
Right.
Your aunt's not going to stay in the same place. I just moved 3 years ago. I hate to admit this. I used to laugh at people who goes, I don't want to be here anymore because of the stairs. Guess what? My knees don't like stairs anymore. That goes to there's always going to be change. Don't be afraid of it.
Yeah.
Embrace it. And then you get to adjust. We don't live the same way we did in the 60s.
Yeah.
We adjust. There are new opportunities. You live in one of the most dynamic economic cities in the world. We're next to the ocean. California is a top 10, top 5 world economy.
Yeah.
So don't apologize for renting, but just be aware. Make making an aware decision.
Yeah.
You know, don't put your head into the sand. But what I know now with confidence is that things change.
Yeah.
Let me give you a story of a client in Berkeley.
Okay.
Lawyer, I forget what his wife does, but they had a 3-bedroom, 1 bath, and then they had 2 kids. Calls me on the phone and goes, Fred, 1 bathroom doesn't
Not going to
work
cut it.
with 3 other women in the house. So it has to be a motivation. It has
Right.
to be a goal.
Right.
Things change. Just be open to it. And I get afraid, like everyone, what's going to happen, the worst case scenario. If the worst case scenario happens, what are you worried about? You're done.
Right.
I believe there's always an answer in between. If you don't think you can, you can't.
Mm-hmm.
You really, really, really can't. So plan for the best, but be aware of what you're looking to do and just make an informed decision. That's probably one of the most important things to me, is to have members make an informed decision.
Yeah.
I call it the Did You Know series. Did you know $3,000 over 30 years is $1 million? And the truth is, I'm being kind to you, it's more like $1.5 million.
Sure. Yeah.
Because your rent's never going to go up in the next 30 years. Housing is something that's absolutely essential to, I think, having a civilized life.
I agree.
You can choose to own a home or not, but at least be informed.
Okay, I like that. I think the forever renting idea we're having is just kind of us coping with the fact that we probably can't afford to buy a house in San Francisco and don't want to leave quite yet. But I think whenever we are ready to buy, obviously it is not going to be in the area that we're living. We are not multimillionaires. We'll be looking somewhere less expensive. So I guess my next question for you would be, if we are planning on purchasing a home in the next 3 to 5 years, or maybe taking it more seriously by that point, getting our city life out of our system and then looking to settle down somewhere in, the burbs, what are things that we should or could be doing right now to lay the groundwork for potentially being ready to take that step down the line?
I'm going to relate a story. I'm a proud UC Berkeley graduate. Grew up in a farming town, 5,000 people in the Central Valley. So going to UC Berkeley was overwhelming.
Sure.
The library looks like something I've seen on television. Let me tell you the secret I learned. Ask the librarian.
Okay.
The librarian knows everything. Uh-huh. What I learned is I went to school with some of the most brilliant people in the world. I'm not the most brilliant person in the world, but I went to school with people
you
who
have access to the most brilliant people in the world.
I can ask them. Sit down with a loan officer, sit down with a financial planner and have the conversation. The journey doesn't start until you ask questions about this. So I think it's one of the biggest mistakes we make. I certainly made it at 25. I didn't know what a 401k was.
Right.
It's what we don't know that gets us. Uh-huh. If you make an informed decision, if you want to stay in the city, fantastic. But at least educate yourself to what your options are. And here's the huge thing, what I appreciate about Patelco so much.
Yes.
No one teaches you this.
Right.
No one teaches you this in college. No one tells you how to buy a home. Mm-hmm. No one tells you that baby boomers currently have $15 to $20 million in equity. That wealth came from owning a home. The 60-something crowd, those are the people who have equity. And if they hadn't bought a home, they wouldn't have saved it because we spent it and we consumed. At least be aware.
Yeah.
At least be aware.
So if I were to, thinking of buying a house in the next handful of years, and I were to sit down with a loan officer earlier than I think I'm ready to purchase right now, what does that conversation look like? Like, what does the counseling look like for someone who is not ready to buy right now, but is kind of exploring the options?
Here's where I think I've really kind of thought about this.
Yeah.
It's not about the programs. Everyone's, hey, tell me about your first-time home buyer program. Mm-hmm. No, tell me who you are, where you are. What are your aspirations?
Okay.
What do you do for a living? How long have you done it? It's more personal than that. And then once you see that, you see options. Hey, you didn't know you could go here or do this or purchase that. And so I always start with I haven't thought of a really cool term, but I call it your personal metrics.
Okay.
How much money you have in the bank? What do you do for a living? Where do you think you might adjust to in income? And most people, when you take them through it, it starts to kick off things that are personal. If you do not have a life plan, life plans you.
Yep. Yep.
It runs you over. You're always reacting. You're building an ADU for your grandmother or your mother that you didn't plan for.
Yeah.
It's daunting and frightening, but it's worse when you haven't had a plan for it, and do it in the most efficient manner you can. Sitting down and talking to a loan officer will start the whole conversation.
Sure.
Here's another kind of push for Patelco.
Okay.
It's more than just mortgage. It's credit card.
Yeah.
It's the $1,500 Dodge Ram truck that you don't need that you have. You can't believe how many young folk that are like, how come you can't buy it? Because you got a $1,500 Dodge Ram truck.
Mm-hmm.
And as a farm boy, you don't even haul anything in it except yourself.
Right.
So equity lines, credit cards, personal loans, just being aware. You and I have kind of talked about this.
Mm-hmm.
Making life more affordable.
Yes.
Are you spending money on something that you really need or you really want? And if you want the $1,500 Dodge Ram, great.
Yeah.
Probably aren't going to be able to buy the house, though.
Yeah.
Until there's some adjustment that goes on there. So I really understand, and I thought a lot about this question. Sit down, have a conversation. And it isn't what I know, it's finding out what you want.
Yeah.
And then giving you the information to get there. Then you know what program to utilize.
Sure.
Everyone always goes, tell me about the first-time home buyer program. I'm like, no, tell me about you.
Okay.
Tell me where you are, how much money you have saved.
Yeah.
Do you even need a first-time home buyer program?
Yeah.
And it's amazing. And then I can take people through ideas that I've seen. Hey, maybe you buy it with your brother and your partner. Maybe your parents help. The truth is a lot different than what people perceive from headlines.
Yeah.
Hey, they paid all cash. No, they didn't. Let me tell you what they did. Everybody got together, pooled their money, paid all cash, and then they come to us to do a refinance.
Yeah.
Big corporations own all the property. No, they don't. You and I form a limited liability corporation because it's the smart, astute thing to do.
Okay.
And we buy a couple of rental properties. We come off as a corporation. We're just mom and pa
Interesting.
that bought a house.
Yeah.
Don't believe the headlines. Look into it.
Yeah.
And-
That's smart advice. Yeah.
And these are all things that I've learned.
Yeah.
Like, once again, my UC Berkeley, I ain't the smartest guy, but I follow smart people.
Yep.
And you learn. And that's the key, is to learn. Don't let fear rule you.
Mm-hmm.
And then you decide. It isn't the first-time homebuyer program. It's your life and where you're going with it.
Okay. You're motivating me, Fred, because I will say I think I am probably letting fear or the overwhelmingness of it control me a little bit, because I would not even think to be sitting down with a home advisor right now. I think I'm not ready to buy right now, so it's not even worth exploring the options or having the conversation until I feel like I'm in a more financially sound place to be there. But listening to you talk, it's like I will probably need some guidance or some assistance, or at least some like discussions with people who know the world better than I do in order to get to that place. So I do really like the advice of just speaking with experts and taking advice from, the people who are, for lack of a better word, smarter than you in those categories and in those areas. I also think it's really funny that every time I talk to a guest in here, I find out how so much stuff ultimately does boil back down to budgeting, for lack of a better word. I always say you can make room for anything in a budget. You just can't make room for everything. And listening to you talk about people wanting to buy a home, but they can't because they've already made room for, the RAM, the truck, whatever it is, the credit card balances. It is just about prioritizing, looking at your values, and weighing those things appropriately, and finding something that is going to best fit your values in your life. So I appreciate those words of insight.
The great thing about freedom is freedom,
Mm-hmm.
but then there's the responsibility. So in part, you're just fear. It's just knowledge. You choose your path. That's what I realized. The power is knowledge.
Sure.
I'm going to go back to my, going to school with really smart people. I call it the Did You Know series. Did you know if you start saving really young,
Yeah.
you can have $3-4 million in the bank?
Mm-hmm.
I've seen people who have humble jobs. They're fantastic Americans. And I look at them at their loan application. How did they get $4 million in the bank? Started early.
Patience and discipline.
We know this, but just having the conversation, knowing and doing, as my father would say,
Yeah.
are two different things. Don't be afraid.
Yeah.
I think that's a bigger issue than anything else. That's why education is so important. And I like I said, did you know? Did you know that if you save, you can be much further ahead?
Yeah.
Stop being afraid. Live your best life. There's all these things I don't know or didn't know that I've had the experience of meeting someone like you or someone I went to college with, or it blows my mind. And so that's why education is so important, and that's why you need to start there.
Yeah.
You can utilize the information whenever you choose, but there's always a huge issue when you didn't know.
Yeah. Okay. I like that. So I am going to buy a home in the next 3 to 5 years. I'll put that out in the universe. I'm ready to do it. I'm ready to start tackling it. I want to talk to a mortgage advisor. I'm obviously going to go to Patelco because that is my trusted financial institution. You've talked a little bit, already about how Patelco makes life affordable and Patelco taking a member first, approach to this. Can you kind of just expand a little bit about specifically what makes Patelco unique from a member perspective looking to buy a home, how we take kind of a collaborative approach towards the path to home ownership?
Ask questions and listen.
Mm-hmm.
People will tell you it's the simplest thing. It isn't like I have some remarkable knowledge.
Right.
And that's why I'm saying this is overly simplistic, and I thought about this a great deal. Hey, tell me the program. No. Sit down, have a consultation, ask questions, then listen.
Yeah.
People will tell you where they want to go. And what happens as a loan officer, you ask the question, and there it is.
Yeah.
There's the answer. Here's what we need to do. It's your journey. I'm just fitting it to you.
Yep.
So there isn't some secret dust here. It's literally you sitting down and going through it. No one walks into a neurosurgeon and says, hey, I want you to cut open my head. Just, you'd go like,
right.
Something's wrong with you. So the magic button is talking to someone you know and trust, Patelco.
Mm-hmm.
And what makes the difference is just it has a group of people that are orchestrated to that.
Yeah.
They live their word. And look, I'm a skeptic. I haven't been here the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
I've done this for 40 years. I hear what you say. I watch what you do.
Yeah.
These folks, we at Patelco, really work earnestly to put people in the best position to live their best life. You decide what that life is.
Okay. I can do that. And I like the idea that, Patelco mortgage advisors, people are having the questions and having the conversation kind of, I think a lot of times, and I see it when I'm helping members, or I think when our certified financial specialists are helping members, when you ask these questions and have these conversations, the member tends to come up with their own answers themselves. You know what I mean? The specialist is there to sort of guide them to their answer and kind of pull out what is their values, what is the things that they want to pursue. And I think when you're able to come up with those answers on your own, it holds a little bit more weight within yourself.
It's not about us. Never has been.
Yep.
I'll give you an example. I have a cousin. He's cheap. I won't say his name.
Okay.
He has a bass boat.
Okay.
These are really expensive.
Mm-hmm.
For him, this is the most important thing in the world, and he lives his best life. I wouldn't know that. It's just maybe travel is your thing.
Yeah.
Our job is just to facilitate you living your best life. And that's a trite, overused, statement.
Sure.
But this is what you're going. And let me just, because the real deal is boring.
Yeah.
How much money do you make? Where do you
Yep.
live? What's rent? What are your credit card balances?
Mm-hmm.
Those are the things I kind of go through with people. How much money do you have saved? Do you have 6 months saved in case of an emergency? Did you know I love Samuel L. Jackson? I love Capital One. 25 cents on the dollar, Patelco 6 to 10% on the dollar.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing?
Right.
Okay. I know what's not in your wallet, and it's not money because you're paying 25 cents on the dollar.
Sure.
It's making it more affordable, giving people the information to have control of their life.
Yeah.
And once again, maybe, we don't have the $5 million house because I don't think I'm going to afford it either.
Yeah.
But you can have a really nice home in a really nice place that may seem unimaginable to you now.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen that because I'm old, young at heart. I've seen people who didn't believe they could do it.
Yeah.
And then it's 30 years from now, and you have $700,000 in equity. Woo!
That seems so unattainable, but and how we talked about, prices for homes right now, it is a fastly appreciating asset. It's not unthinkable if you're just able to, take that first step.
Let's talk about the market a little bit.
Yeah.
Because 30 years ago looks really short having lived it, but you just don't think prices are going to ever get to a certain range.
Mm-hmm.
The truth is it never goes up 2% a year. During COVID, it was 20, 30% at one time. And then it settles. It's a moderate market right now.
Yep.
It's a moderate market where if you don't price your home correctly, it sits.
Yeah.
If it's dated, it sits. There's opportunities. There's the opportunity to negotiate. Let me tell you the best first-time home buyer program there ever was.
Please.
Negotiating with the seller. There are programs where you can put as little as 3% down.
Right.
But what you do is if you negotiate with the seller, you can ask for a concession, and that means you ask him to pay some of your costs. Two things dominate, the down payment and the monthly payment, and it's always been the payment.
Mm-hmm.
Always the payment. There's techniques, tools, negotiations. You could have the seller give you a concession that allows you to get a lower rate in the 5s. That's 50s, like in the 5s.
Mm-hmm.
Big secret. Want to know how builders sell homes?
Tell me.
Big secret. You take a $600,000 house.
Okay.
You sell it for $700,000. You give people $50,000 back, 25 in upgrades, 25 to buy down your rate and cover costs. The transaction facilitates the sale.
Wow.
Think about it.
Yeah.
They sell $600,000 houses for $700,000.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone's like, whoa, whoa. I swear to you, you look at it over time. So perception and how you feel makes a huge difference. You can do this. People can do this. And if not today, it's just a matter of when.
Yeah.
The coolest, I love saying this to people, it's not if you can buy a home, it's when you can buy a home.
Right.
And you're going to ask me again, but what do? You sit down, you have a conversation, you create a plan, and then you know. And you can see this light switch literally flick on with people when they're like, I can do
this. Yeah. Whew. I can't wait to have that light switch moment myself. But Fred, you've given me quite a bit to think about. I feel very invigorated. I feel ready to go. I feel like I can do this, and I appreciate your words of wisdom today. I'm going to ask you one final question, and this is the question that I ask every guest who sits in this chair. If you could share what your golden nugget of today's recording is, and it can be something you've already talked about that you want to, drive home. It can be a quote, a phrase, whatever, one kind of punctuation that you want to leave with our listeners. Fred Williams, what is your golden nugget?
I'm going to go emotional.
Oh.
I have my long-term friend who has the mobile home in Santa Cruz, and I have a Patelco member who just closed on a home. And here's what I asked them. How does this make you feel? What does home ownership mean to you? I love this. From my crusty friend that I've known forever, he said, the reason why owning a home is so important to me is financial independence and home security. And so for him to say this was like, wow.
Yeah.
For the new member who's not even been in the home a month, he goes, joyous freedom. That's what homeownership
Joyous freedom.
These are quotes from people I just closed.
Yeah.
Think about it. Think about how it makes you feel, because being an owner feels different.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
It really does. It feels different. So that's my advice. Don't be afraid.
Okay.
Get some of this joyous freedom.
Get some of that joyous freedom. I like that. That's a good golden nugget. Get some of that joyous freedom, everybody. Fred, thank you so much for imparting your wisdom. You've given me a lot to think about, and at least a lot of first steps I can take, and kind of eased a lot of the fear and anxiety that I have been feeling around just this concept of buying a home. So I appreciate your time and your words today.
Thank you. This was great. Love sharing it. People helped me. I grew up with a whole group of people. So it's just me doing my part. So I really appreciate being here. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. And thank you all for listening. That is going to do it for today on Small Talks for Big Change, where we help simplify financial topics to help with your financial wellness. We will see you next time. Patelco Credit Union is insured by NCUA. NMLS ID 217435, Equal Housing Opportunity.